Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
We are visiting Natural Bridges National Monument, and
we had to have somewhere to stay.
And so you're going to see there's a little highway right behind us, and that is the extent of the traffic.
Yeah.
It is, however, if you continue going, it says it goes to Capitol Reef. I don't remember how far it is over there, but we're going to talk about camping in the area, and we are going to focus on
this spot because, in our opinion, it's by far the best.
And several things I think really played into that. One is we had driven in quite a bit of rain and snow yesterday coming from Cuba, New Mexico. And yes, for two Texans driving in snow in April, it's a little strange.
And a little sleet, not much.
But when we got here and saw, this is, let's tell you where we are, and we will even put the GPS coordinates down at the bottom for you. This is an abandoned airstrip. And so there is asphalt right here.
Yes.
And we're actually on a gravel kind of little pull-off area. And there are trees on the other side, which it was 41 at 9 o'clock when we got up to go explore the National Monument.
We don't know how cold it got. It got cold.
But our RV, the heat, we had it set low because we had a lot of blankets and everything, but it was not bitterly cold.
No.
And that's because that we really were kind of sheltered from some wind. This is definitely big rig friendly.
Yes. And a couple of things. If you have a smaller rig, you can pull off. There are some spaces that are clearly marked, and you can pull back into a space in the trees. There was a problem with the one at the end, which had a great view.
Well, it was a drain if we just went down that way, and so we didn't want to risk that.
No.
But it had been raining, and those that actually back into or pull into the trees, you're on dirt. Here we're on gravel.
Yes.
And so the fact that it had been raining and it was very cloudy when we got here yesterday and actually all afternoon.
Yes.
We didn't want to chance
it rained
that.
Last night. We heard it a couple of times.
Want to point out on the satellite view of this, you can see there are 3 pull-ins. And right now, the middle one is by far the smoothest. We went down from Bluff area heading west. We went to the 3rd entrance.
And it's probably the worst.
No, the first of the third, those are not great. This one was doable. We just took our time. We did not, sorry, the dog's there. We did not bottom out anywhere, but it was not nearly as smooth as the middle one. We had plenty of room as we were coming back up to make a U-turn while we're hitched and select this spot. It had a little fire ring.
That's another thing about this area. If you have a preference on having a fire ring or getting a good place on plenty of gravel, a little pull out, if you get here early, right now we're sitting here by ourselves.
There's a casita that's backed in
I didn't realize.
to some trees down there.
But tonight, my guess is we'll have at least 4 or 5 others.
There were 7 of us here last night. There goes some more traffic. It wasn't that much traffic last night.
No.
So, I mean, somebody would drive by occasionally, I'm sure, but that was one of my concerns when we looked at this. I thought, man, if there's anybody driving on that highway at night, we're going to hear it. You really don't because of the wind. So we are thrilled with this spot. If you're familiar with the area, you can see Bear's Ears from where we are. We're up against trees, so we don't see the bluffs that are down here, but you can see that they're right here. And plenty of room. There's parking over here with the trees, and there's also room for parking on the other side that would be nearer the highway. And I gotta tell you, if I were pulling through here, compared to the other spots we've seen,
and we're going to talk about those,
we couldn't be happier. Okay, the campground.
Oh yeah, the campground has 13 sites, no hookups, no water. But it is a campground. That is plainly posted no more than 26 feet combined to get in.
And I believe, at least the last that we'd seen, those are first come, first serve. Now, we drove through there. We're going to be showing you. They are really designed for tents. If you have a Class B conversion van kind of thing, you're going to be okay. There are some that would be a little tight for that.
Yes.
Personally, just towing through the campground, I would not want to tow through with anything larger than a casita.
We saw one travel trailer. They got in.
There was a site that I honestly think we possibly could have fit in. The problem is, you go in and there are a few sites, then there's a one-way loop. Well, as we're going in, you get to the one-way area. That site we possibly could have fit into was straight in front of us. And there's absolutely no way you could back into it. And so, I was very glad we did not go down there.
Yes.
It is not big rig friendly.
No. Oh, gosh, no.
The park is.
Yes.
There are plenty of places to park. We're going to make a separate video about the park.
There were two places after you turn off of 95.
And let's say this. We are exactly 8 miles from the visitor center at Natural Bridges. It's 4 miles from here to the road that turns into that turns off to go to Natural Bridges, and then it's 4 miles from there, the sign tells you, to the visitor center, or to entrance.
Yes. And along that 4 miles, we saw two places that
Were marked.
clearly marked where you could camp. If you have a big rig, I would not. If you have a travel trailer, I wouldn't.
It wasn't
advise
parked, it wasn't camping on that road.
No.
There were roads that you have to drive down the National Forest roads where
Yes.
you could camp. And
then you have to back in to their marked sites, but
well, they're sort of, I mean, they're where people have been, but we drove down one of the Forest Service roads, and I'd planned on getting some pictures, but there were some people with a lance. We stopped and told them about this place, that they'd have plenty of room and easy to do, and they were getting their lance into one of those sites. When we pulled into one of the sites, we had the hitch on the back end, and it did not do well. I had to pull forward, take the hitch out, and
we still scraped on the way out.
we scraped the
bumper,
as we were coming out, but we were able to get out of that site. So it's not like you're just pulling off. There's a very deep culvert going into and out of those sites, which we didn't drive further back to see.
If you have four-wheel drive and you're camping in a tent.
Yes, if you're tent camping or have a high clearance vehicle, those sites are actually made for that.
Yes.
Now, between Bluff and the entrance to the Natural Bridges, that road that turns off, there were a number of places where we did see some RVs that were in dispersed camping. We did not go down to look at any of those because we were hitched, and we want to be able to kind of scout them out.
Yes.
So this is, like we said, just an abandoned airstrip, and we're showing you lots of pictures of it because we are thrilled. And if we came back to this area, we definitely would choose to stay here.
I will tell you that in the summer, it will be blistering hot.
Well, it's the high in the summer. I think their average high is 90, maybe in July.
Then now it's a shade. It's still going to be warm.
It's going to be really warm. But the elevation that we passed as we were coming here is 7,100 feet. So, it's that kind of, that's where we are, just to put it bluntly. So, like we said, if you're here in the summer and can get one of these, like 5 or 4 or 5 sites where you can actually back into the trees, we would have done that. Matter of fact, where we are is a place where people have backed up in there. But
in the rain, we weren't going to go on the dirt because we want to be sure we can get out of anywhere we get into.
But we do want to, make you aware of that there's not going to be, for most of the spots that are here, there's not going to be any shade. But here, the very end of April, our concern was not the heat.
No.
But anyway, if you're coming to this area, and this was kind of a bonus, I'll just go and throw this out there. We're heading actually to the Mighty Five and the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. That's where we were planning to go. As we were looking at the map of Utah, saw that this was a national monument that was going to be here, less than 100 miles from where we're going to be staying at Canyonlands. At least that's what we're hoping. And so thought, hey, when are we going to be back in this area?
Exactly.
And it's been a very nice stop. We've stayed here. This is going to be our second night, and wish we could stay another night, but the campgrounds that we have marked as our top two options are first come, first serve, and we think first come, first serve will be easier
on Thursday
than it would be on Friday. And so that's why we are leaving after just 2 nights instead of staying for a third. But, if you're a person that does a lot of dispersed camping and you're comfortable driving on those national forest roads, I will tell you there were some fresh ruts on the road that we drove down some. And so, like I said, we are thrilled with this one. So we hope this has given you something to think about if you're coming to Natural Bridges area. Thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.